All right, today I am putting up the $800 Samsung Galaxy Z Flip against my professional setup that's around $8,000 to see how it does against each other and to give it something to be compared against. And at the same time, I'm gonna teach you the best Samsung time-lapse settings while I'm at it. So I just got my hands on the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip. I wanted to test out the capabilities of the Samsung time-lapse and hyperlapse features, and I gotta be honest, my first impressions are, I'm actually impressed. Here's some of the clips and see if you can guess which is which. I was inspired to try this because I've seen a lot of creators I admire recommend trying to shoot stuff with their mobile. Thought it'd be an interesting challenge and I wanted to give it a try. Oh, Tasha wants to say, hey, if you're liking this video, please like and subscribe. And so as we dive more into the different shots that we got, what I want to do is I want to talk about all of the Samsung settings. So to do that, we got to go into the camera. And as you can see, there's no time-lapse functionality. So what we got to do is we got to swipe over to more and you'll see an option for hyperlapse. Quick definition time. A hyperlapse is a time-lapse that moves a long distance, giving it that little extra movement, which makes it hyper. My guess is that Samsung decided to call it hyperlapse because it's mobile. With the mobile phone, the whole emphasis is that you move. You can do a time-lapse with it, just know that you're going into the hyperlapse function. Okay, so moving on. So when I click on it, right off the bat, you'll notice that there's 6 settings on the top left that we can adjust. The first one's the gear icon, which is the settings. There isn't a whole lot of settings that we get access to with this particular phone. Other Android phones might have different options. If I click on this, you can see like it's all grayed out. But the two that I do like is the grid lines, so I can see, the nice things where everything's framed up, and then location tags. I like doing this because if I take a photo of a restaurant or I take a photo of an area and I want to know the name of it later, I got it in my location. Okay, so then next we have a flash option, which is kind of hilarious. I don't think I've ever used a time lapse with a flash. Okay, moving on. We got UHD and FHD, and the FHD is basically just full high definition, 1920 by 1080. UHD is ultra or 4K. One thing to know is I did some tests. I shot a 10-minute time lapse in FHD and it was like 72 megabytes. And then I shot a 10-minute time lapse with UHD and it was 121. So it's like 40% bigger of a file. Next, we have a timer setting. So if we just click on this, we have a bunch of different options. We got infinite, so you can just control it whenever you want it to stop. We got 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 120 minutes, 180, 300. So some nice presets for the time. And the next one is really important. It's basically an interval. And the interval is the amount of time that takes place between the start of taking each photo. The main thing to know about intervals is if you pick an interval that is too slow, it's boring as heck, there's not enough movement. On the other hand, if it's too fast, no one's gonna know what they're looking at, it's gonna be a little bit jerky. So it's kind of a balancing act that comes with time, and I'll give you some pointers that I recommend. So typically when we're talking about intervals, we talk about it in terms of seconds, minute, hours, day, and longer. But with our phone, we're just gonna be talking about seconds. But this app, so if we click on it, we have a bunch of different presets, A for automatic, 5x, 10x, 15x, 30x, 60x, and then we have 45x with the little moon and 15x with the little moon, and that's basically just nighttime presets, letting you know it's for nighttime. What's nice is if you click on it, it'll tell you what these things are actually good for. So if I click 10x, it says good for recording traffic streaming by. This is nice. We're gonna put it to the test and figure out how well it works. I did do some math and basically calculated what these all mean, and 5x translates to an interval of 1/6 of a second, which is absurdly fast. I did this on people walking because the app said it's good for people doing things. No, it is not very good. I think the only thing that's good for is when you want to act like you're pushing and pulling things around. 15x basically translates to every half a second, which is pretty usable. 30x translates to a photo every 1 second, which is, in my opinion, the shortest usable interval, and it maxes out at 60x, which translates to a photo every 2 seconds. This is important because everything moves at different speeds. The faster something moves, the smaller the interval you can use. The slower something moves, the bigger the interval you're gonna want to use. For example, some clouds look stuck in the sky, while some other ones look like they're moving really fast. Same with traffic. Sometimes it's flowing freely, and sometimes people are in gridlock. So depending on the speed of the stuff moving in front of you, you'll need to choose a different interval preset, and that'll come with time. But I'm gonna share my thoughts after explaining this last button. The last button, if we go ahead and click it, is a screen preview on or off. As you can see, it really just shows you what you're looking at. One important thing is when you're shooting a time lapse is you wanna set the exposure and the focus. To do that is simple, just tap on the screen and press the lock button, then just adjust the exposure if you want it under or overexposed. It's important that you do that because if not, you might get flicker when the light changes, or your camera could find different things to focus on as it's moving in and out of your frame, and it'll make your video look really weird. So overall, I'm pretty impressed with how well the phones have come along. The major thing is just how quickly you can get stabilized and usable footage right out of your your phone. This is great in a pinch, great for doing tests. I don't think it would completely replace my workflow, but maybe if it had a bigger sensor, that'd be really cool. But ultimately, I just think it's a great thing because the fundamentals are the fundamentals, and this is a great way to learn. This is a great way to get started just using the things that you have at your disposal and not have to worry about buying all this expensive equipment. So that's it for this video. Happy shooting, and I'll see you next time. So if you're interested in trying to level up your time lapse, your hyperlapse, and then also kind of trying to blend them all together to make them look like a flow motion, then I have the perfect course for you. It's basically gonna tell you everything that I've learned over the last 8 years working as a hyperlapse photographer, giving you everything that I have from presets to templates, and you'll be able to see me step by step work through entire projects and download the source material. And to make it a little easier, I have a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, please consider checking it out. And you can't hear, but Fatash is saying, please like and subscribe this video, and don't worry about your gear.